Alrighty, last up we have City Trial, which is everybody's favorite. Let's not kid ourselves here. City Trial, that was a little laggy actually. City Trial is really fun. It's very like in the spirit of the whole game, where it's like kind of simple, but very, in this case I think it's very addictive. You play City Trial itself, you just did the free run, I take it. Yeah, we'll go through this. We might go through it a couple times. I remember liking a lot of the random events. For example, like Dynablade from Kirby Superstars, who I didn't even know who she was. But, you know, cool giant bird shows up and starts stomping around. It's like, you know, my 8-year-old self thought it was really cool, even though I didn't get the reference of it. Then I played Kirby Superstar years later, it's like, oh my god, this is the thing in City Trial. But yeah, I actually wouldn't play Superstar until, the DS version. I thought about adding that to the list, but I'm already doing Squeak Squad around the same time, so I think I might pass on Superstar Ultra as much as I do enjoy that game. Just because I kind of feel like there wouldn't be enough. Like, I kind of put a hard cap on myself because I realized I was getting ahead of myself anyway. So I ended up deciding I want to do 50 games for this series. 50 games that either are my favorites or are emotionally significant to me. Like again, Super Mario Bros. 2 is a case where it's like, I'm not really crazy about Super Mario Bros. 2 on face value, but because Birdo was like my first experience with a trans character, it's like this is very relevant. And to be fair, I did play a crap ton of Mario 2, albeit unsuccessfully, because I was bad at it. The orange boxes can actually have special air ride machine parts for the Hydra and the thing in Smash Bros. Why am I blanking on the name? Dragoon, I think? And it's actually really fun to just glide around with the Dragoon. Just like zoom all over the place, you know, with reckless abandon. In general though, it's not really great in my opinion to try to spend too much time going for them. Just because it does waste time, essentially. You can also break this giant star. The big question I have for air riders, the other funny thing is I'm so backed up on videos that I'm doing like 2 uploads a week on my YouTube channel of like streams that are cut down to like episodic format. By the time this would actually go up on YouTube, air riders might actually have more details, so this might have aged very poorly. I realized that about the DK94 playthrough, where I was talking about stuff that's like, that aged poorly, because I was talking about like Switch 2 and stuff. Yeah, I like Birdo. She's not like my favorite Mario character, but I think she's cool. Interestingly named Catherine in the Japanese version. Let's see here, and yeah, the other big question mark I have is, do I split DLC into its own, separate game, basically? And again, that's mostly because of Xenoblade. Like, do I count Torna separately from Xenoblade 2, or do I do the fun thing that's the, like, air quote intended order, actually, and play like 7 chapters of Xenoblade 2 and then play Torna? Like, what if I do it the way the developers intended? Or would that just be really confusing? I don't know. Like, it actually might be fun to finally do, like, that order. But it might be confusing. The Kino order. For me, it's just, Torna plays very differently, so going to Torna and back to 2, I think would be really confusing. I think I'd throw off my brain quite a bit. Like, my brain would just kind of melt a little, trying to, like, process doing both like gameplay styles, back to back to back. And again, Feature Redeemed is straight up DLC, so I almost would be more willing to count that as just part of the 3 playthrough. The problem is, the reason I love 3 is not represented in Feature Redeemed in some ways. Again, not to get into Xenoblade spoilers, but my overall take on Feature Redeemed is, the base game is like very emotionally resonant, while the DLC is kind of like a character nostalgia kind of trip. It's not, I don't mean that as a bad thing, to clarify, it's just like, it is more like the character send-off versus the thematic conclusion to the trilogy, if that makes sense. It's like, I love Xenoblade 3 though. It is probably my current favorite game. Barely, well not barely, but definitely like nudging out the previous, which would have been Thousand Year Door, probably. Well, that sucked. I kind of abandoned ship too early there. And yeah, that's the other thing. Well, I guess we might as well shut it off too. In a moment. Wow, I botched that. Okay. I might do another air ride sea trial run after, but again, I wanted to quickly go over free run. So yeah, you can choose any vehicle you've unlocked through the checklist and just kind of go around for a bit. Ow. You also have access if you unlock them through the checklist for this mode. The Dragoon and Hydra. The Dragoon is extremely good at flying. I actually prefer it because it's overall faster. The Hydra you have to charge up for a really long time, and then release. So if you can actually have the patience to go to top speed, cool. I'm not that patient though. I just kind of like want the immediate catharsis of the Dragoon being able to just go this fast, because I am very, very impatient as a kid, and that has kind of not changed. Yeah, you have all sorts of random events like a UFO appearing with like items on top, so if you actually get up to the UFO, which is not easy, it's very high up, you can get a bunch of unique rewards, meteors falling, fog, Tack, the thief cat, showing up, and you can basically defeat him for extra items. Rubber boxes, so like the boxes are bouncing, fake power-ups. There is a lot of randomness. The weird realization I'm having in this very moment of this is a Kirby roguelike, or roguelite. And I don't know how to feel about that realization. But yeah, this is basically a roguelite mode, like for the main city trial mode. And I really hope they build on that for Air Riders. I really want, I want a couple more areas, maybe a bigger world. Might help, or maybe just several different cities, like different hub worlds that you can basically choose between. Because like the city is great, but I think like having different worlds, like set on different planets from the Kirby series, but still following the same format of collect stuff, and then, you know, jump into a challenge to see who's built their best build for this particular challenge. It's Smash Run basically, but Smash Run kinda wasn't great because, in my opinion, it was just very limited by being stuck on the 3DS. Why they never brought it back in Ultimate is beyond me, to be honest. The other cool thing in general with City Trial is you can just yeet a vehicle. Well, actually, most vehicles don't get yeeted. The Dragoon is just that fast. But you can basically run around and jump onto different vehicles that spawn in. In free run, you just have access to all of them. So like, yeah, to demonstrate the Hydra really quickly, it takes forever to actually build up enough power. But if you get to max power, it is like the fastest vehicle in the game, basically. So yeah, it's very interesting. I wish these were actually present in Air Ride, but they would be very broken, admittedly. Again, not a fan of this one because I don't like the build-up time. It's worth it if you can build up, but some modes are actually so short that like the time it takes to build up the Hydra charge, the mode's already done, which is kind of a bummer. But again, you can actually take that into account, like literally collecting power-ups to increase charge time, or decrease charge time, would help the Hydra. So yeah, basically speccing out builds is really interesting. So yeah, I am really curious to see what Air Riders does to like iterate on this format, because it has been 20 years since this game, therefore this game already wasn't like super well received. Again, I think it's like a 60 or 50 out of 100. It's not very well reviewed, probably because of the lack of content and relatively like basic control scheme. But there is a lot of room to improve, I think, so I'm excited about that aspect. We're gonna keep going with the stream a little bit longer, but the ad break is coming up very soon, so I'm gonna run ads. And we shall resume with Kirby Air Ride momentarily. Alright, let's hop back in. We went over these two modes, so I guess we'll try out Stadium for a bit, actually. I want to show all these off. There are basically a ton of different modes here. However, when playing them like straight up like this, you actually are missing out a little bit from the perspective of you don't actually have upgrades. So the actual best way to do the challenges on each of the minigames is like through the actual main mode itself, because you might not have enough upgrades to actually beat the clear times or meet certain objectives. Like, these modes are going to be inherently harder because you don't have like a powered up air ride machine. Which is kind of a weird oversight in my opinion, that there's no way to like tweak stats, I guess, but it would also be a little bit broken otherwise. So we have all the drag race modes, we'll go through all these. In terms of other requests I would have for Air Riders, I kind of hope it is a little bit open world but sandboxy. What I kind of want is like a mission system where the open world actually has like... I had a feeling it was gonna go in that direction, but yeah, basically having like actual missions and like NPCs around the open world, making it a little bit more lived in. However, when I start describing it that way, then it's like, that's just Mario Kart World at a point. So, I don't know how they're gonna differentiate. Because City Trial is a core essential to the Kirby... Oh, wow, that was a new record. That was not on purpose. An essential part of the Kirby Air Ride experience. Listen, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm just excited to see more. Again, they didn't tell me enough to be excited, if I'm being real. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to them eventually showing more of Kirby Air Riders. Listen to my story? That's the wrong game. That's Final Fantasy... We're not in Final Fantasy X yet. Hi, welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. We're just messing around in Kirby Air Ride for a little bit longer, and then we'll probably... How about not yet? Yeah, I am planning to play FF10. Needless to say, that is a game that is a core part of my life. No one ever would be able to guess that, I'm sure. The funny part is my name isn't even entirely derived from Yuna. My name is partly derived from a K-pop artist. I've told the story before, and I'm sure it'll come up again. Yeah, but that... I don't even know how to respond to that. I feel like I'm just kind of stun-locked at the moment. Wait, actually? Yeah, because I had such a huge Girls' Generation phase, I was trying to figure out Korean names to go with as a username. And then remembered one of the members of Girls' Generation was named Yuna. Spelled Y-O-O-N-A, but pronounced Yuna. So it occurred to me I could go for the double meaning of like a Korean name, but also tied to a character of significance to me. Yeah, hell yeah. So that's some early lore, because we'll probably talk about it again in the Final Fantasy X playthrough, because I'll be like a 30-hour playthrough. I'll have a lot to talk about, probably. This game is so short that this is actually pretty, like, packed playthrough in terms of, like, lore drops and just talking, because it's like, there's not a lot of time to talk. This is gonna be a one-stream game, easily. I'm not gonna come back to this. This is Waka, he's got my back. He may be racist, but he's great at sports. Great. That's just sports in general, I think. High jump time. So yeah, that's just athletes in general, I think. But, whenever we get to Final Fantasy X, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know how to format that. I don't know if I'll do Expert Sphere Grid or default for the sake of my sanity and not overthinking everything. Why did I go farther that time? I didn't do anything different. Expert Grid is weird. That's... I mean, it makes sense. You can just kind of spec out everybody. Thank you for the hydration check. I'll take care of that momentarily. Also, thank you for the headpads. Scooter was your fave? Hell yeah. I love how fast it turns. Actually, that wouldn't have been bad for this mode, now that I think about it. Because you have to defeat, like, a lot of enemies. These are some of the hardest challenges from what I recall. Trying to get enough enemies to actually unlock the next stage is not easy. The other thing I was thinking about with, like, my name is... again, I just wanted something Korean related. Because it's like, that's where I'm from. And a lot of my identity has kind of been separated from that. So I kind of wanted to slowly work it back into my identity. If that makes any sense now that I'm trying to vocalize this thought. And like around the time of me coming out, I started, is there a Korean Spider-Man? Because I know there's the Japanese Spider-Man, the Emissary of Death or whatever. But, wow, that completely threw off my train of thought, actually. I mean, wouldn't that just be Silk at that point? Because if you have a Korean Spider-Man, that'd just be Silk. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, avatar colors, Loki of the Philippine flag colors. Hell yeah, that's cute. I have trans colors because I'm subtle. Yeah, Sandy Moon is Korean. That's why I brought up Silk. What else was I gonna say? Around the time I was having a big gender crisis was when I kind of got back into K-pop, so for full story, I'm definitely a second-gen girly, which is probably why I got back into Idol. Because they always are like, wow, they have a second-gen sound to them. But I really like Girls' Generation. I, weirdly enough, wasn't super into to anyone, which is like a hot take, because all my friends at the time were really into to anyone, but I kind of wasn't. I like Girls' Generation. I like Genie. Fun story, in League of Legends, Ari has a costume based on the military uniform used in the music video for Genie, Tell Me Your Wish. And her emotes for that are straight up parts of the dance from the chorus of that song. And I legitimately almost played League of Legends just because of that. The irony is Ari in KDA is voiced by Myeon, who is not actually my bias in Idol. Which is very ironic, yeah. I have an affinity for Korean superheroes because I like Korean characters in media. It's like, why do I play Luna Snow as much as I do? Ow, I died already. Also, just, I like healers. I've always been a healer main in like every MOBA style game. I played Mercy in Overwatch, for example. That was fun. I say very sarcastically, I'm getting obliterated. So yeah, like Sandy Moon is one that I wish had better writers, because everything I hear about that character is like done dirty. Luna Snow also has like zero personality, it feels like, in the comics, and most of her lore is in Rivals, because there's just not much to work with. I actually have never played TF2. But like, I think about like a joke about like Luna Snow being like an industry plant character, and like I can't even quite argue with that, because it's like they literally just created characters to put into like a Korean mobile game. What if we played League? Oh no. Are you gonna rope me into League? The problem is I don't want to spend $10 for the Popstar outfit. It's like, that's my condition for playing League, is I want to have the Popstar outfit. And not the KDA one, but the Girls' Generation one. But yeah, the other funny part is, Yuna wasn't even my bias in Girls' Generation. My bias is actually Taeyeon. This probably sounds like alien gibberish to anyone other than Aiden. Jeff the land shark is more so the plant. Yeah, that's also fair. There's also where that, like, I shouldn't be getting into a Marvel Rivals rant while playing Kirby Air Ride and trying to give my backstory. But yeah, basically Korean characters I kind of have an affinity towards in Western media. For example, along with Cindy Moon and Luna Snow, there's another member of the Agents of Atlas named White Fox, who is a Kumiho. So it's like, I guess if she ever gets added to Rivals, which is, I think, actually rumored at the moment, hey, I guess I'm switching mains, because I guess I'm legally obligated to play this character. I think I just blew myself up there. Which, neat. This is going great so far. I'm so good at Kirby Air Ride. There was in the current event thingy they're doing, there's something about, like, I guess spoilers if you haven't completed the last page of the current event, but there's some mention about the next antagonist for the season after, but I'm not gonna go into it. And it's interesting, actually, but again, not gonna elaborate because I don't know how far everyone's gotten in that event. Now you want to know? Basically, I guess if you care about Marvel Rivals, spoilers to the lore, mute for the next like 5 seconds, but I think they mentioned Null in one of the lore entries for the current event going on. So the speculation is like going back to Clintar or something. Doing something Venom related. That was not 5 seconds. But yeah. There's also some line in the, like, at the very end of the current description about, like, that's making people think we might be getting, like, a couple of characters because of, like, mentioning, like, some kind of, like, really powerful force needing to fight this, so people are kind of like Jean Grey might make sense, but who knows. I definitely wasn't expecting, certain characters when they were added. But the other thing is, with my, like, penchant for liking Korean characters in media is, I also don't like D.Va in Overwatch. I tried to play as D.Va. I did not get very far with her. I'm not really cut out to be a tank. I like Orisa, though. But the other thing is, I really didn't enjoy playing as a lot of characters in Overwatch towards the end, because I just don't have good memories of Overwatch, if I'm being real. This is a lot happening while also trying to talk about my long and intricate backstory. I say slightly facetiously. But basically, I tried to get into Overwatch because of an ex. And so I don't really have the best feelings about Overwatch, and I actually think that bleeds into Rivals a bit. Like, I don't think I like Rivals, like, Overwatch-style games even because of that. It's not, like, a huge deal. I still play Rivals because a lot of friends play it, but... The other thing I'm mad about, and I'm gonna talk about Fortnite, because of course I'm gonna talk about Fortnite, briefly. As much as I'm mad about all the AI stuff and, like, the rumored festival artist being a transphobe, for the next season, I'm not happy about that. And I'm, like, mad over the They added a bunch of K-pop and they didn't add anything Idol. And my petty ass is over here like, where the hell is Idol? Why is there not a single Idol song in Fortnite? It's like Tomboys and Emote. That's a frame 1. I'm buying now off the shop. I have V-Bucks saved up. I wouldn't have to pay real money. Yeah, that's just Cube in general. Yeah, basically in like 2020 was Forever 1 2021 and 2022. I actually don't know if you would know that, Aiden, but like the girls' generation come back. Why did I say Forever 21? I meant Forever 1. Yeah, I forget when that was, but that was kind of when I was getting back into K-pop a bit, because I like girls' generation, so them doing a like one-off comeback was like a big deal to me. And I think everything just kind of lined up where it's like, okay, I'm dying. Cool. What else was I gonna say? So yeah, that's kind of when I was starting to get back into K-pop, and also that's, I think, part of the reason why the name Yuna as a Korean name was also like fresh on my mind, because of Girls' Generation coming back. Again, the irony of Taeyeon being my bias, but I just saw the name Yuna and I'm like, wait a minute, that has a double meaning to it, so let's go with Yuna. Then my like personal name, because I have like a username and a personal name that are different, which I'm not going to say out loud, though I think everybody watching the stream right now probably already knows it, but I don't want to out myself like that. That was kind of like me trying to find something close, something that could easily translate to an Anglified name, weirdly enough, because I kind of want a name that sounds Korean, but could also be written like in an American way. I don't know if that's weird. But like, you know, it's just so like in an online setting, if I'm like applying to a job or something, that like it won't immediately be assumed to be an Asian name because I'm spelling it like in a very Anglified way. It's also not pronounced exactly the same, but if anyone says the Korean pronunciation or an English pronunciation, I will not be, you know, upset either way. :3, I see. But the other thing is, with K-pop is, I always had like a tangential knowledge of Idol. So the TLDR is, I really liked a group called Kepler. The main like the leader, quote unquote, because like the whole Girls Planet 999 thing, it's a whole thing. But she was in another group called CLC, but also was in a Korean sitcom called So Not Worth It, in like 2 episodes as like the sister of one of the main characters. The interesting thing is the lead actress in this one of the lead actresses, not the lead, but one of the lead actresses in this series was Minnie from Idol, so I was already familiar with her to some degree, even before like really getting into Idol in the last like 3 weeks. Oh my god, it hasn't been that long. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I watched it just because I want to see Chae Eugene in the series. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm invested in the story. So then I would just watch the whole thing. So that's how I kind of knew about Minnie to begin with. And so, like, when I was getting into Idol, I immediately gravitated towards Minnie, because I was familiar with her. I say as I immediately confused her for Oogie, because I just saw the blonde hair, and I'm like, which one is Minnie? I don't know, and then it's like, oh yeah, this like purple hair emo look. It's like, yeah, I can't tell which one is which here. Now I can tell them apart. I was also having trouble telling, I think Mion and Shua apart at first, but I think I've got a handle on it now. Again, this was a huge tangent while fighting King Dedede. So yeah, that's been my current hyperfixation, is Idol. It's been interesting. There's a lot of content to catch up on, but I've been having a good time doing so. I combined good and lore, so I misread that as gore somehow, and I was like, what? Huh? But it's like, okay, that makes sense. Which just makes me think of the meme of, oh, that's gore, my comfort character, which has been something I keep saying in like just random circumstances. Like, oh, that's gore, my comfort character. What else is there to talk about? This would be a lot easier if I was actually upgraded, but I'm not, so I'm gonna get my ass handed to me. Or we'll time over, that's the other option. The other thing worth mentioning though about this is you can actually set which mode you want to appear at the end. That's core of the local population. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to beat D2D like this with no upgrades. But yeah, you can actually set specific events. So if you want to get a good shot at King Deity with like a fully upgraded air ride machine, and you can do that. So maybe we'll do that actually. I guess some other lore about me is, we'll talk about this during a future playthrough, but I had really bad breathing problems as a kid. They were worse than they are now, and they're also not good now, in all honesty. But this is why I'm such a gamer, to be honest. It's because I just was sick as a kid all the time, so I just couldn't like go outside, because if you live in like... I don't know if I want to give away too much about myself, but I can say like Central Valley, California. It's like, if you know, you know, but like air quality is not great there. So me having respiratory issues in a part of the country that has really bad air quality was not fun. So yeah, I was just kind of sick all the time as a kid. I was always having like asthma attacks and stuff. So why I have such a bond of the character Vivian in Thousand Year Door is because I remember like getting hit in the head with a soccer ball and having a panic attack, and then coming home and playing Thousand Year Door and feeling better. So as much as everyone like hates Chapter 4 because it's tedious backtracking for 2 hours, I still like that chapter because I like Vivian. And it's like, oh yeah, she's trans. It's like, okay, I definitely like Vivian. It's like, you know, you don't have to keep selling me on this character game. Yeah. So again, this story will come up in like 3 months whenever I do Thousand Year Door and get that far into the game. Yeah. Since I'm dropping all this lore, I figure I might as well talk about it now. Like, I kind of wonder if that's part of the reason I'm such a, like, a girl twink now. It's just because of how unhealthy I was. Like, I always struggled to put on weight as a kid. I remember it was like a big deal when I actually got to like 100 pounds when I was like 13 or 14 or something, because I was so skinny for like the entirety of my life up to that point, and I still am pretty skinny for my, like, I'm not at BMI by any stretch. But yeah, that's why I have so much experience with games, because I just didn't have anything better to do. Because it's like, what am I gonna do? Jog in like smog? The rhyme wasn't intentional, but I started thinking about it. It's like, wait, we can rhyme this. The other thing is, with K-pop, my friends at the time that got me into K-pop also were really into Vocaloid, so that's how I got into Vocaloid too. So, fun story, they had really interesting recommendations for me. The first songs they recommended for me, if I recall correctly, were Circus Monster and Fear Garden. If you know anything about Vocaloid, you'll probably be like, oh god, why those two songs? And that's a very good question I do not have an answer to. So that actually kind of turned me off of Vocaloid at first, because like, are all Vocaloid songs just effed up? And frankly, a lot of them are. But there was the feeling of like, yeah, like how dark are Vocaloid songs? Like, is this normal? So I ended up getting into Vocaloid on my own. I think the one I fell in love with was Melt, which is like the most like basic take, I think. Like, that should not be overly shocking that like, oh, Melt is what actually got me into Vocaloid. Also like Melancholy a lot by Rin. Tell Your World is good, but I tried to extreme perfect it in Project Diva to the point where I'm now sick of the song, unfortunately, as much as I still do love the song. Butterfly on Your Right Shoulder is very good. I like Rin and Len. They're probably my favorites overall. Miku's fine, but like, I'm partial to Rin. Aww. I say immediately after like talking about being burnt out on that song. Yeah, Final Fantasy X is on the list to go back to that topic. But the other fun tidbit about myself is Final Fantasy X isn't even my favorite Final Fantasy. That's 9. I love Final Fantasy 9. It is phenomenal. I still need to play 5 and 8 though. I almost streamed Final Fantasy 5 today because Forge Hop Fiesta is going on. But I'm a little bit hesitant to play do a Forge Hop Fiesta on the first playthrough. Like arbitrarily limiting what characters I can use or like what jobs I can use sounds like hell on the first playthrough if I roll a bad roll. So I opted out of that, but I might do a casual playthrough this year, and then next year try to do a Fiesta run. But yeah, I really do enjoy Final Fantasy 9 and 10. Other than that, 6 is significant to me because I got my wisdom teeth out, and then like I played Final Fantasy 6 as like a get well present. And I think Mario RPG also, I may be misremembering. Oh yeah, by the way, Mario RPG Remake runs great on Switch too. It ran at like a really choppy frame rate on Switch 1. But it runs like flawlessly on Switch 2, which is nice. So if I ever do a replay of it, I will be definitely doing the remake, not the SNES version. Luminary of the Stars. What is that a reference to, Zon? I feel like you're being coy right now, but I can't tell. The other interesting bit of lore about myself is I've been associated with Foxes for a really long time. We're coming up on a decade of me being Fox Core, apparently. The funny part is I don't even know what caused it. Like, I just got associated with Vulpix eventually, and it's like, oh, well, you're the Vulpix girl now. Or, not girl, because I was not out of the closet by then, but you know what I mean. So when I came out and decided I wanted to do... But also, by the way, I actually, did pick a Snow Fox VTuber for the reason of Vulpix being... You know, being Candace of Vulpix for so long. Hi pal, Sid, welcome on in. Yeah, we're playing a little bit of Air Right to reminisce about myself a little bit. The other interesting thing about me in this regard is, specifically originally, my original concept was to be specifically a Kitsune. But then, because, you know, my big weeb phase, which is a whole other story by the way, I can talk about that too, actually, since we have an opportunity. So I got into anime, I think around 2008, 2009, because of Pokemon. I really got into Pokemon hardcore after playing Melee. So I started with Diamond and Pearl, we'll get to that later. But I got so hooked on Pokemon, hardcore, to the point where the most absurd part of this to me is I played the game Hi Hi Puffy Yumi Kaznapped just because Puffy Yumi did the Japanese ending song for the Lucario movie. I'm not even kidding. I bought it the same day as Sonic and the Black Knight in 2009, like straight up. I remember this. I was at a GameStop in like Bellevue, Washington. Like, this is such a weird core memory. So because I got so hardcore into Pokemon and the anime especially, I really got into anime hardcore. So for example, the funny part, Aiden, is I've never even seen the show. I've never watched an episode. Hi, see, welcome on in. Ah, that's too fast. But yeah. I got into Fruits Basket really early on, which is why, like, whenever you ask me who's my favorite voice actress, Laura Bailey is the actress I will always say for who's my favorite voice actor, because of Tori Honda. I think because she's in so many like Funimation dubs of that era, I also got into FMA around the same time, which is a whole other story. So Fullmetal Alchemist was interesting because I tried to get into it, immediately saw Gore, my comfort character, shall we say, and then stopped watching because like, oh my god, the characters actually do like in a gory fashion lose their limbs in the first episode. So that freaked me out as like a 13-year-old or 14-year-old. So again, I've never been great with gore. I say as someone who likes Resident Evil. But I eventually gave it another shot, really enjoyed it. I think I started with 2003 and eventually did Brotherhood. I think I did the weird back and forth thing where I think I might have watched part of the original and then finished with Brotherhood, or I don't remember if that's actually what I did or not. Either way, I watched both. The group that did the fourth ending of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, named Scandal, the song's called Shinkan Sentimental. That's my favorite band to this day. They're also well known for the song Shoujo S from Bleach. Those are probably their two best known songs, but I've also been continuing to follow them to this day. Fun story, there was a whole thing where they left their record label, it's like, I think Sony, and went to like I think their own label actually recently, within like Universal or something. But either way, that caused all their music to be delisted from iTunes, which actually meant I obviously couldn't buy any releases after a certain point. So around like early lockdown, I discovered, oh wait, all the music is back online. I can actually listen to it again and go through a huge Scandal hyperfixation. And so this is the really funny part. Two of the members actually, like, the origins of the band Scandal is they started out at a music and dance school, and actually I think were meant to be dancers originally, but ended up making a rock band together. So there's a video of two of the members dancing to the song Wada Da by Kepler. That's how my K-pop hyperfixation came back. So this literally led me to where I am currently with hyperfixations. Because then that leads to Kepler, that leads to So Not Worth It, which leads to Tomboy at the time. I also would have heard the song Nude at the time, because that was the song they were currently promoting. Or Idol was currently promoting, and in my Kepler era, so I think I might have heard Queen Card and didn't necessarily vibe with it at the time, so I think that's part of the reason why I didn't delve much deeper into Idol's music at that point. Tomboy Changed Your Life, yeah. It's one of the songs where it's like, I've talked to people who aren't into K-pop and they know that song, basically. Again, that's why I'm like, why the hell isn't Tomboy in Fortnite? As an emote also, like if that's an emote, that'd be great, but that will never happen.